Wow, it definitely picked up. I'm so sorry I've been complaining so much about the plot of this season, but I feel vindicated because we finally get something good. Hello everyone, my name is Joe and I review all of your favorite shows on this channel and on my Patreon, so join. But now let's talk about Yellowjackets episode 6 because... what? Like, first the girls were busy trying to keep Ben alive, then the girls were busy trying to feast on Ben, then the girls were busy trying to celebrate feasting on Ben, then at some point the girls were busy trying to, consider in their minds if Ben's head on display would be an issue to them being rescued. Who are those people? Well, clearly they looked like hikers. They were like in hiking gear. The guy had a compass, so they were there doing something. But, okay, there's a lot to unpack here. There is a lot to unpack here, but I'm going to make one point first because I'm going to discuss the past first and then go to the present. But first, a point. The noise we hear on the tape, I think it's pretty clear, is the moment at the end of the episode when they're going insane, celebrating the feast, the Thanksgiving feast. By the way, wicked. So wicked that they call that episode Thanksgiving. But anyway, they're celebrating Thanksgiving, they're having a feast, they're going wild with the forest. And that is the recording that we hear on the tape. In fact, when we go back to the time when they were listening to the tape, we hear Lottie screaming no. So we know that's the moment that was recorded. What we don't hear is whatever happens afterwards, but we know. We know because Van says the only people who knew what happened at this time was either us or people who are dead. So those two people, those two hikers that just happened to go there, are dead. How are they dead? How could they potentially be dead? Well, I'm blaming Ben. I'm blaming Ben. I'm not actually blaming Ben, but the reason they are dead is because of the head. If these girls had just hidden the head, and by the way, why was the head there? Why were they celebrating, feasting on Ben with his head there? Do you know what that reminded me of? It reminded me of goddamn Lumen with the watermelon head of Irving. That's what it reminded me of Severance. Because it was so bizarre that they were... I mean, they didn't do that with Jackie. They didn't do that with whoever they have eaten afterwards, Javi, right? They didn't display their heads as if it was a trophy, as they did there, because that's what it looked like. Like Ben's head was a trophy that they were putting on display while they were eating his body. So I think that's why those two people, the people who brought the recorder, because clearly the girls did not have a recorder in the forest. I mean, come on. So those people brought the recorder. They were recording, because we hear in the recording that she does, that the woman who clearly was the one who was recording says, testing, testing. And then she says, what the hell is happening here? As they are probably approaching on the camp as they are chanting. And the women who brought the recorder, those two people who were there witnessing Ben's head, are going to be dead because they're going to hunt them. This is going to be the next episode. Is going to cut to the past and we're going to see like this standstill between the two hikers and the girls where they are going to be like, these people are cannibals. These people are a threat because they saw that we are cannibals. What do? They are going to run. They are going to run after them. And they are going to catch up to them because baby girls have been living, girly pops have been living in the forest for months, potentially close to a year now. So for sure they will hunt them. And what will they do with them? We wonder. Probably another feast. And honestly, I just have to say this. Like, I haven't been theorizing about this show for long. It's been mostly like to myself for the first few seasons and now with you guys. But I mean, the absolute embarrassment that these girls and the coach have been on the goddamn forest surviving out of nowhere, and they could have hiked out of there. Can you imagine? They could have two hikers. They didn't even have packs. They surely had like a tent somewhere in the forest. But I mean, they didn't even have food with them. They didn't seem to have water. They just had themselves, which means they have a camp somewhere close by that they probably got there by hiking. They parked their car in some parking lot of some camping site. They camped nearby and then they hiked. Probably. And I mean, it makes sense. It makes so much sense because there was a cabin there. And I mean, I think we all went with the theory of, ooh, mysterious reasons for there being a cabin in the woods. But no, it wasn't mysterious reasons. It's just the fact that they are not that far away from civilization. This is the biggest plot twist of the entire show. They were never in the wilderness. They were like probably a few kilometers away from a town somewhere or a camping site somewhere. Oh my god. You guys, you cannot understand how much I was losing it watching those two people and then rewinding to listen to the tape and then to rewatch all that stuff again and just the realization coming to my eyes. What? They were so close this entire time? Anyway. I'm still losing it, guys. Anyway, what's going to happen? Because there's a few questions now. I went back and I watched the first shot of the show because in my mind I was thinking, there was snow, wasn't there? There was snow. And there was. There was snow. There's snow. There's a random girl falling into a pit of sticks, of sharp sticks. And there are 7 people eating the meat and 1 extra person preparing the meat. So by the time they are rescued, now we know it's rescued. It is winter and there's only 8 people alive. And we know that Shauna, Ty, Van, Lottie, Nat, Misty, and the guy are alive. These are the people we've seen so far. Who is the 8th? The 8th has to be the person. If we assume that only 8 people are alive, if we assume that the first shot still holds and only 8 people will survive this, the 8th person has to be the idiot who is messing with Shauna and sent the tape and broke the car thingy and trapped her in the freezer and left the phone, who is, let's all say it aloud, Melissa. Why is Melissa mad at Shauna? Couldn't tell you. Maybe after they were rescued, Shauna wanted nothing to do with her and went with Jackie's boyfriend instead? Who knows? But this is my theory for now, okay? Only 8 people will survive, and the girl with the bunny connected to the forest will not survive. The person who will survive will absolutely be Melissa. And we have to ask, if the end of the show is when they are in the snow and they are full-on cannibals, how are they going to get there? Well, guys, I might have a delusional theory coming. If you thought that my it's not real theory was delusional, just you wait. Just you wait. We know this is the 6th episode, right? Let me check the title of the episodes. The next one I'm pretty sure is called Croak. And I had to search that because English is not my first language, and croak is the sound the frog makes or means death. I wonder who's death. Oh, I wonder. These girls are getting so insane. Croak obviously going to be them, murdering the hikers because they are witnesses to their crimes in the forest. And the goddamn Ben head. Because it's like, they don't have excuses. They just don't have excuses. They have enough meat to eat. They don't need to eat Ben. They're doing this out of this stupid religion, cultural cult they have created in this forest. And displaying Van's head clearly shows that they are on another plane of insanity. Like, they are not, no court would allow them to go back into society, and they shouldn't have. Clearly, by the events of the present. But yeah, seventh episode is Croak, so they're going to be, hunting down the tourists, not tourists, hikers. Then 8th episode is A Normal Boring Life, which is going to be them preparing to be rescued, or maybe even considering if they want to hike back into society, because I don't know that they all want to at this point. So I feel like this might be like them deciding, should we hike back into society? And then how the story ends, I think, is going to have like a time jump of some sort where they didn't go back into society, they stay there, and now they are hunting people that go hiking around those trails. This is my crazy ass theory, okay? Because the girl we see in the first episode, like, we never see her face. We don't know who she is. For all we know, she could just be a hiker, a camper, someone they found and hunted. It would be insane if the story went there, but this is where I feel the story is going to go, because why else would they still be in winter, wearing those masks, fully hunting people? They weren't doing that past winter, were they? Did we miss something and they had to do that to survive? Is that what it is? It's like, is the last shot or the shot we saw in the first episode a thing already happened in the show? If it is, well, fun. If it isn't, I feel like they could revert back into hunting people in the forest. And then it gets to a point where, I don't know, they give up, they give out, they go back into society, they run out of people to hunt. I don't know. And then we get full circle where they probably get rescued, or they rescue themselves by hiking back into society, because apparently they could have done that all along. And I've been saying this. I've been saying that I didn't think they were preparing enough for winter. They weren't taking their situation seriously. But they have been preparing for winter, which was the wrong choice, because they could have hiked back into society. Especially during, like, the summertime, where they don't have to fight snow. Wow, that was the biggest plot twist of the show, that they were not in the wilderness. Jesus. But anyway, guys, to the present. I have only a few things to say about the present, and I'm going to be very succinct because I feel like it's obvious at this point. All the shenanigans happening with Shauna are the doing of Melissa. Like, there's no way they introduced a character in the past named Melissa and gave her so much importance, and then she's not going to be in the present. And if they are sticking to the first shot of the show, where only 8 people are alive, the 8th person that we haven't seen before has to be Melissa, right? Yes. Point 2. The stuff with Ty's son and the stuff with Lottie could absolutely be Dark Ty. Like, Ty has been acting strange as shit. And Van kind of said it in this episode. Like, you're weird. Why are you so weird? And I feel like, I feel like it could be Dark Ty. Maybe she's been doing not so fun things, not so legal things. Maybe she is behind the stuff that happened with Lottie. Maybe she paid a visit to her son that made him say, "Are you my mom? Are you not going to be my mommy anymore?" and stuff like that. So I feel like there's 2, like, responsible forces. One is Melissa and one is Dark Ty. And I would love to see, like, a flashback moment where we see all the times that Ty wasn't Ty and was Dark Ty. That would be fun. Show, give it to us, please. And then the third aspect is the goddamn phone call. Listen. I've been saying this whole time, I don't believe in the paranormal shit that has been going on. But the options are not very, very good, because it's either paranormal, it's either the forest spirit, or Van is hallucinating, maybe your cancer is back, or it's, an alternate reality. Guys, crazy delusional theories are always on my brain. Oh, in my brain. It could be an alternate reality. No, I'm betting on her cancer is back somehow in her brain, giving her hallucinations. Because I refuse to believe in the paranormal stuff in this show. Refuse to believe it. So to me, hallucinations. Period. Moving on. No, I'm really finally excited about this show again. I felt like they were pretty directionless, mostly in like the present timeline. The past timeline still felt some form of sense because there wasn't much going on in the plot, but there were things happening within the dynamics of the show and of the group of girls. This religion that they have that is clearly a mess, because in this episode we see the bunny girl going back to the cave and she admits to Lottie, like, clearly, I don't know what this means, I don't know what this is, I have no idea. And I mean, of course they don't. They've been making up all the meaning of this shit as they go along. So, in a way, the past scenes were interesting because they were developing their characters and taking us further into whatever happened in this forest that made them so silent about it in the present, that made them so screwed up in the present. Whatever happened in the past was never that disconnected from the overall show because it was always piling up evidence, kind of, on why they are the way they are in the present. But the present has felt pretty directionless. What am I saying? Directionless. But I like that we are figuring out what the tape is. I feel like everything is pointing to Melissa. I like the development on Dark Tie. Because, I mean, Baby Girl never dealt with that. These girls never dealt with the shit that they faced in that forest. And I feel like if there's ever going to be an appropriate ending to the present timeline, it has to be with them dealing with all of this bullshit. Going to therapy, seeking help, speaking the truth of what happened. Like, if the show in the present doesn't end with them finally giving their testimony to a journalist or like a book writer or something of the sort, I won't feel like their arcs are complete, because the reason why they are still going through all of this and they're still messing with each other's lives and they can't really overcome what happened to them is because they haven't dealt with it. They haven't admitted it. They haven't truly like recognized what they've done. And like, I don't know what kind of legal repercussions they would have, because if they do kill, which they will, those hikers and potentially more people who come hiking around those places, they will have to face like legal consequences. But I feel like that's the only way they will ever manage to like mentally get out of that place, because when you look at them, it doesn't really feel like they've left the forest. They're still behaving like there's a spiritual entity around to get them. Like they are still messing with each other. And I feel like this is what they need. They just need to admit the truth. And if they go to jail, they go to jail. And they'll be happy together there. How about that? I feel like that's where the show needs to go. But let's see. We have 2 more seasons, right? So they will be clearly about the girls like adjusting back to society, then some time jumps to see them get to the place where we meet them in the first season in the present timeline and see where they end up. Maybe we'll see them get old together. Who knows? But yeah, I really like this episode. I was having that feeling finally. And I'm excited for the next one, guys. I really hope those hikers escape, but they won't. They won't. It was a great episode. Let me know in the comments your theories. Like, share, subscribe, join my Patreon, do all the fun stuff, and I'll see you next week with Yellow Jackets and probably in a few days with White Lotus. Bye, guys.